Member state of the Arab League. The politics of Egypt are based on republicanism, with a semi-presidential system of government. The current political system was established following the Egyptian Revolution of 2011 and the resignation of President Hosni Mubarak. In the current system, the president is elected for a 6-year term, where they are able to appoint up to 5% of the parliament. Furthermore, the president has the power to dissolve parliament through Article 137. The Parliament of Egypt is the oldest legislative chamber in Africa and the Middle East. The unicameral parliament has the ability to impeach the president through Article 161. With 2020 elections to the new Senate, the chamber becomes bicameral. The position was created after the Egyptian Revolution of 1952. Muhammad Naguib was the first to hold the position. Before 2005, the parliament chose a candidate for the presidency and the people voted in a referendum whether or not they approved the proposed candidate for president. After the Egyptian Revolution of 2011, a new presidential election was held 2012. It was the first free and fair elections in Egypt's political history. After a wave of public discontent with autocratic excesses of the Muslim Brotherhood government of President Mohamed Morsi, the beginning of July 2013 marked the announcement by General Abdel Fattah el-Sisi of the removal of Morsi from office. El-Sisi then was himself elected head of state in the 2014 presidential election. The Article 133 of Egypt's Constitution of 2012 determines a 4-year period of presidential mandate, to which the candidate can only be re-elected once. According to the document, to be eligible the candidate must be Egyptian born to Egyptian parents, must have carried no other citizenship, must have civil and political right, cannot be married to a non-Egyptian, and not be younger than 40 Gregorian years. The Article 146 declares the President of being the supreme commander of the armed forces. However, to declare war or to send armed forces outside state territory, the President must consult the National Defense Council, likewise have the approvals majority of the MPs. A constitutional referendum was held in Egypt from the 20th to the 22nd of April 2019. With overseas voting taking place between 19 and the 21st of April. The proposed changes allowed President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi to remain in power until 2030. Under the previous version of the constitution, he would have been barred from contesting the next elections, set to take place in 2022. The changes were approved by 88.83% of voters who voted. With a 44% turnout, Parliament meets for one 8-month session each year. Under special circumstances, the President of the Republic can call an additional session. Even though the powers of the Parliament have increased since the 1980 amendments of the Constitution, the Parliament continues to lack the powers to balance the extensive powers of the President. The House of Representatives is the principal legislative body. It consists of a maximum 596 representatives, with 448 are directly elected through FPTP and another 120 elected through proportional representation in 4 nationwide districts, while the President can appoint up to 28. The House sits for a 5-year term but can be dissolved earlier by the President. The Constitution reserves 50% of the House may force the resignation of the executive cabinet by voting a motion of censure. For this reason, the Prime Minister and his cabinet are necessarily from the dominant party or coalition in the Assembly. In the case of a President and House from opposing parties, this leads to the situation known as cohabitation. The most recent elections held in 2015. The Shura Council was the 264-member upper house of parliament created in 1980. In the Shura Council, 176 members were directly elected and 88 members were appointed by the President of the Republic. For 6-year terms, one half of the Shura Council was renewed every 3 years. The Shura Council's legislative powers were limited. On most matters of legislation, the People's Assembly retained the last word in the event of a disagreement between the two houses. The Shura Council was abolished in the 2014 Constitution. Political parties in Egypt are numerous and exceeds 100 parties. The formation of political parties based on religion, race or gender is prohibited by the constitution. Before the revolution in 2011, power was concentrated in the hands of the President of the Republic and the National Democratic Party, which retained a supermajority in the People's Assembly. Many new political parties that mostly were fragile formed in anticipation of running candidates in the 2011-12 Egyptian parliamentary election that was considered the first free one since the 1952 revolution. However, the elected parliament was dissolved by the Constitutional Court and new elections were held in 2015 below the national level. Authority is exercised by and through govern